and welcome back. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. And today I have with me the Rephr Holiday Set. And I wanted to film just a quick review of these brushes because I have gotten a lot of questions as to whether or not this set is worth picking up. And right now until November 8th, it is $100 off on the Rephr site. And I do have an affiliate code down below in the description box if you are interested. Now let's take a look at the holiday set. The Rephr Holiday Set does come with this acrylic case for your brushes. This is like great for traveling or anything like that. Now normally when you buy a set of brushes from Rephr, they come in a cardboard version of it. Personally, I like the cardboard version just because it's a little bit more environmentally friendly. But the acrylic case is great for traveling because obviously it's hard, nothing will get crushed. There are 3 brushes in the holiday set, and I just want to state that Rephr sent these to me. I did not purchase these. However, I already had these too. So this is the Rephr 24 and the Rephr 23. And I'm sure you hear me talk about the Rephr 24 all the time. It's my favorite bronzer brush. You can use it for bronzer, contour. Some people prefer it for blush. But for me, I think it's my favorite bronzer brush for anything that is a firmer product. Anything that's like super soft and powdery, I prefer going in with an angled cheek brush, specifically this one here, which is the Chantecaille F04. This is a Silver Fox brush. It's super, super soft. And if I have a very powdery bronzer or, something with a softer formulation, I prefer this, but something that's a little bit harder to pick up, I like this one here because it's dense and it picks up the product well and it puts it down well. All 3 of these brushes are undyed goat hair. So again, this is the Rephr 24. This one here is the 23, which is a thin pencil brush. Now the Rephr 23 is a standard thin pencil brush. This is the 03. So you can see how different they are in size. And it's just a standard, nice, thin pencil brush. There's nothing particularly that stands out about this, but everybody needs pencil brushes in their stash. So if this is a good size for you, it's a good brush to have. Now the Rephr 25, this is the replacement for the Rephr 11. And I never got that brush. I think when I ordered my original set, that brush was not available. I don't know, but I don't have the 11. So this is a 25 and it's a very large powder brush and it's a very nice brush. All 3 of these brushes are made of undyed goat hair, which means technically they can be used with powders or with creams or liquids as well. So I find that to be very versatile. That's particularly good for me with the 24 because if I use a cream bronzer or contour product, again, this is the brush that I reach for. For example, the Burberry Essential Glows palette, when I use a contour product in there, I always use this brush. Just for a few comparisons, this here is the Rephr 22 or P22, which a lot of other people prefer to use for bronzer. For me, I find it to be too large, so I typically use it for powder when I use it. And then this is the 24, so you can see the difference in size. Out of the brushes I find the P24 to be most similar to this one, which is the Chantecaille T11. So you can see here that the 24 is larger. Okay, you can see that it is taller and it's also wider and it is thicker. So it's kind of like a bigger version of it. They do have a very similar shape. The T11 here goes flatter on the top than the 24. The 24 is domed. And so is the T11, but there is a little tiny little portion that goes flat at the top. And here it doesn't really do that. So that's just a slight difference between them. I usually use the T11 for foundation and I love it for that, but this is also a great brush that you can use for bronzer or contour. For me, I prefer the 24 just because it's a little bit thicker. So it diffuses the product a little bit more to my liking because again, I'm somebody who doesn't really wear a lot of bronzer and contour and I like it to be very light and natural. As for the 23, I don't really have another brush like that. Again, this is the 03, which is a little bit bigger. Most of my pencil brushes are Givenchy. This one's dirty. This is the pencil one, but you can see that the point is going to be pretty similar to the 23 point. However, this is just, it's larger overall, so you're going to get a thicker line. One of the things I like to use the 23 brush for is using, making a powder into a liquid and using that for a liner. So it gives a nice thin line for that. It's not going to be super thin, like, for example, like on the end of a liquid eyeliner or something, but it's a nice eye pencil. Now the 25 brush, this is a huge powder brush. So this here is the Beautylish in Chikahodu Lunar New Year brush from 2019, and you can see the size difference here. Okay, I mean, it's bigger all over. It's wider, it's thicker, and it is longer. So there's that. This is the Surratt face brush. So you can see again that it's bigger all the way around. Now let's take a look at the set as a whole. Now the set as a whole is currently $100 off until November 8th. After that, it goes back to its price of $216. So right now you can get these for $116. If you're only interested in one or two brushes or something, then the brushes on their website are currently 20% off when you purchase them individually. So for example, let's say you only wanted to get the 24 brush, it's 20% off. I'm not sure exactly what the price is off the top of my head, but it's like around $50. Now for me, when I'm trying to decide whether a purchase is worth it or not, I figure out what item it is in the set that I want the most, and I calculate that cost. So for me, I would start with the 24 brush because I think it's a great brush, and it's one of my favorite brushes. So this would be something that I would want in the set. So let's calculate this at approximately $50. The pencil brush is nice, but it's a pretty standard pencil brush. There's nothing special about it. So for me, it's nice to have, but it's not something I'm running out to purchase. So I'm not calculating a value for this. Then the next thing that goes through my head is what's left. So the other item in the set then is the 25 brush. So this is a powder brush. If we calculate the 24 at approximately $50, the pencil brush, we don't count that, then this brush then is going to approximately be about $66. So is this brush worth $66 to get this set? So that is personally how I think of things when I'm trying to decide whether a set is worth purchasing for me or not. Now, before you actually make a decision on that, let's take a look at this powder brush since this is a new one. Now, again, this brush is gigantic. It's great for loose powder. You could use it for pressed powder, but because it is long, you do have a lot of flex with the bristles. So you're going to get like a lighter application. If you want to get a firmer application, you pinch it, and that works. You could technically get a little bit of light buffing action with this. Now, do I think this is the best powder brush ever? No. Personally, when I like to use loose powders and face powders, I prefer a softer brush head. So I prefer something like a squirrel brush, like this Surratt face brush. This is incredibly soft. It is a super, super soft brush. If you're looking at another Go Hair brush, for example, this is the Sonia G Master Face. It's also a super soft brush. Not as soft as squirrel, but it's still very, very soft. It feels great on my face. The Rephr 25, I think it's a little bit, it's not scratchy. It's still a soft brush, but it's not nearly as soft as either of those. So for me, it's not going to be a brush that I reach for a ton. However, if you are starting off a collection and you don't have any Fude powder brushes, the question for you then becomes, do I want to spend $66 on a very nice powder brush, or do I want to save up, spend a little bit more, and get something incredibly soft? So that's kind of what you have to ask yourself, and it's a personal decision. I can't answer that for anybody, but for me personally, I prefer these softer brushes that I have in my collection over this one. I really like the size of this, and I have to say I do have a brush that feels very similar to this. This brush is from Giorgio Armani, and this is actually the blush brush, but you can see that it's a pretty large blush brush. For reference, this is a Sonia G blush brush. This is the Cheek Pro. So you can see that it's a very large blush brush. And when I use this, I actually use this for powder. Now, what specifically, I use this for pressed powder and dust it on. This doesn't have quite as much flex as the powder brush from Rephr, just because you can see you've got the pinched ferrule here, which kind of gives it a little bit more firmness. Now, the reason I wanted to mention this brush is because the feel of these brushes on your cheek are going to be pretty similar. So if you have a brush from this line in your collection, then you're going to know what the Rephr bristles feel like on your face. This Giorgio Armani brush is goat hair and synthetic, so it's actually a mix of the two fibers. One other thing I wanted to show you about this powder brush is you can see it does have different lengths of hair. So the shortest ones go here, and then they gradually get longer all the way up. So it's a great shape. It picks up the product super well. And if you are looking for something to apply a lot of pigment in a light fashion in a short amount of time, this is a great brush for it. Those are all of my thoughts on the Rephr Holiday collection. And just in summation here, I do think that this is a personal decision whether you want this or not. Again, you get the acrylic container, which is great for traveling, and you get these 3 brushes, the 23, the 24, and the 25. And again, my favorite out of these is the 24. And if you're interested in any of these brushes individually, they are currently 20% off on the site, or the holiday set is $100 off until November 8th. So it's a total of $116. So if you're interested in this collection, again, I hope the way I kind of go through whether or not to make a purchase kind of helped you. But for me personally, I like to pick what my favorite brush is and then see if it's worth the extra money to get another brush that maybe I wouldn't have picked up individually, but would be nice to have. I know a lot of you are going to ask me whether I would pick up this set myself. And I have to say, I would definitely pick up the 24 brush. I probably would pick up the whole set because, you know, getting a powder brush then for what in my head equates to $66, I think is a good deal. But it's honestly not going to be something that I reach for a ton just because I prefer softer brushes. So, you know, that's something to take into account. If you don't already have a big fluffy powder brush, this could be really worth it for you. Or if you're looking for a set of brushes for travel or as a gift for somebody who is just getting into brushes, I think these are great choices. If, however, you already have Fude powder brushes, the softness of this does not compare to those. I hope this was helpful in making a decision about the holiday set or these brushes in general. I think Rephr brushes are a great set of brushes overall. You know, they are great workhorse everyday brushes. They're great for travel. They're great for multi-use since you can use them with creams and powders and so forth. But a lot of whether or not these brushes are a good investment for you is what you already have. So it becomes a personal decision. And I hope I was able to help answer any questions about these brushes and this set. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you very soon. Have a great day.